Recording. Ooh,
That's different.
that was from one of us.
Okay. Hi everybody. It's me, the world's worst PTA mom, Sam.
And it's very tired Mason.
And you know it's good when you hear
Right, Tiffany.
All right, so I know that it's Pride Month, and a few of you are going to accuse us of hate crimes because we haven't been doing this vlog for 3 weeks. But you know what? Every bitch needs a break. And we had to do.
Well, we're vaccinated and things are opening up again, so there's just less time. Like there's more things to do now. So I have family to see and things like that. So we've just been busy.
I had family to see too. I had a family member that graduated from high school, and I went to their graduation and almost got killed by a tent. It was a good time.
By a tent?
Yes. Okay. So sorry, story time here. I went to my nephew's graduation, and they had it outside on the football field, and they had a tent, like an open sides tent that was like a sun shelter for all of the teachers that had come to the graduation. And it was really windy outside, but it was a beautiful sunny day, no rain, nothing. And as we were getting ready to leave the football field, like when we were walking off the field, the wind picked the tent up and blew it across the football field. My mom's like, Sam, duck. And I look over and I see a leg of this pole headed my direction. So I lean down, I look over, my grandmother, who's like 87, is on the ground. And the tent blew from one side of the football field all the way to the other side of the football field. I'm like, wouldn't it be such a tragedy if like the majority of our family died going into my nephew's graduation?
Not from COVID, but from a tent accident.
But we're here. Obviously, we made it. My grandmother didn't break anything, so that was good because she is super old and she like fell on her butt. So we were all like, are your hips okay? Your legs okay? Are you all right? But she's dead.
Okay, well, that's good.
It was a time. Ooh. But anyway, we're not here to talk about tent accidents. It's not Final Destination that we're going to be reviewing today. We are reviewing Lovely Writer the series.
Yes, finally.
I know.
Okay. This one was interesting. I don't know. I don't even know where to begin. I feel like overall it was pretty solid. There is one character who was wronged completely, and we'll get into him later.
Okay, we'll see what happens, because if it's the character that I'm thinking of, I'm on the fuck that guy train, but that's just me.
We'll
Synopsis?
See. Huh?
Synopsis?
Oh, sure. It's just like literally a boys' love writing. It's like how a boys' love is made, essentially, but fictionalized. So it's like this writer, I forgot his name. Listen, scheduling things happened. I watched this a few days ago and I totally forgot everyone's name by now. So main character, he's like just like annoyed writer guy, and his book is being turned into a boys' love, and the lead actor from said boys' love goes to live with him because of housing issues by the agency, which is like, what a plot. Okay, fine. So it's basically they like fall in love, and it's about how their boys' love gets made and how real life relationships affect the show and how fans are shit. So
yes, very much fans are shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am gonna say I actually read some reviews of the show on my drama list. I didn't read like pages and pages. I did like a brief skim over of like what people's impressions were of this story. And I feel like Mason and I are not qualified to review boys' love anymore, because everything that I feel like we enjoyed about this show, everyone else who watched it was like, this show is terrible and I can't believe they did that.
Why?
I saw so many reviews of people saying the show was good up until after episode 5. And it's just like,
what happened episode 5?
episode 5 was the episode before we got the backstory between Jean and Nubson. So at the end of episode 5 is when he realizes, oh, you're my neighbor's son, my childhood friend, and he lied to me. And everybody's like, oh, they fucked up the story doing that. That was not right. A bunch of people were mad about episodes 11 and 12, which is when they got outed by a fan. Like, they feel like the whole series went downhill after episode 5. And to me, this series didn't pick up until after episode 5.
Yeah, I was like kind of just waiting for the romance to pick up. And then once it did, I was like, okay, we're going somewhere with this.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, maybe I just don't know what I'm supposed to be looking at in A Boy's Love, because to me, the story got way more entertaining and made more sense after we realized that they had that childhood connection. Because prior to that, I'm like, this Nusuf guy is kind of obsessive. He's kind of stalkerish. This feels uncomfortable. He's moving quite too fast. But then when you find out, oh, it's because this is somebody that he knew from a long time ago, you're like, okay, well, there's other feelings that are underlying that are being developed. But yeah, I was just like, what's wrong with people? Why do they not like the story part of the show?
Because it calls out fan behavior and the homophobia of them.
That is true.
To be fair, I mean, that's what the show is. Like, my entire thing watching the show, I was just thinking, man, I honestly have a hard time with Boys Love fans and the community. I understand it's becoming a bigger genre and I love to see it, but this is like maybe not the time to talk about it because it's like a big can of worms. But I don't know. I'm often excluded from the narrative of Boys Loves, even though it's stuff written for me. And I don't know. I think it's perfectly good for a show to start talking about how bad fan reactions actively affect real people's lives and jobs. Because this is a thing that doesn't even just affect Boys Love, but it affects, like, I was thinking about like K-pop too. Could you imagine any BTS member dating someone? It'd be a wreck. It'd be a fucking wreck.
Okay, so I have one really big issue with this show, and I don't know if anybody else peeped game. I'm sure some people made the connection, but once I made the connection, I was really mad at this show. So for those of you who don't know, this show is directed by the same directing team that did Fahrenheit. There is an actor who played one of the lead actors in Fahrenheit named Mew Supasit. And when he got the role in Fahrenheit, it was a really big deal because he had come off of a very controversial thing with him and a previous partner in A Boy's Love named Art. And their couple name was Mew Art. Now, I can't say for sure that Mew was telling people on the set the story of what happened between him and Art, but the scene where A is in Instagram Live crying and being like, I guess it's okay that they're together, literally was snatched from an Instagram Live where Art got on Instagram and outed Mew and said that Mew tried to kiss him, and that the first time it happened, he like kissed back because he was shocked and didn't know what to do. But then the next time it happened, he's like, no, I'm not gay. I don't want to be with you. And I felt pressured, and that's why I haven't been doing things with him, or it's been uncomfortable to be with him because he's pressuring me to be a boyfriend to him when I'm not attracted to him. And like this was everything that you saw, like in terms of like people making drama videos and fan support swinging wildly, that all happened in real life to Mew before he got cast for Fahrenheit. And they even did like the whole reconciliation thing, and then Mew and Gulf tried to audition for a second show, and they got in a fight at the audition for the second show. And you know how you saw in The Lovely Writer how fans show up at the auditions to take pictures of idols that are auditioning? That's what happened at their second show audition. They went to that audition. Fans were like, oh my gosh, I heard such and such is auditioning for this show. They went there together and got in a fight in front of the fans at the audition.
Damn, I kind of want to see this footage.
So on the one hand, I was like, it's really cool that they decided to talk about how the fact that fans don't know the whole story, and they made an assumption and ruined a career based on their one-sided take on the story. Because this whole thing, at first, people were like, I don't want to see Art in anything because he outed somebody. Other people like, I don't want to see Mew in anything because he's a sexual harasser. Then when Thorntype became used, it swung wildly towards, I don't want Art to have a career. If Art was auditioning for a show, people leave hate comments being like, I can't believe you're letting this creep audition for your show because he outed somebody. Like, it was bananas, to the point that the guy who directed the second version of, fuck, what is the name of that show with it's the Bad Luck Show,
I don't know what
the
you're
one
talking
where
about.
they made it a second time around, but the company was shit and everybody left.
Oh, 2 Moons 2. 2 Moons
Thank
2.
you.
Okay.
The director of 2 Moons 2 casted for a show called Call It What You Will, and he announced that Art was going to be on the cast of this show, and people left him hate comments on Twitter saying, how dare you cast this guy in your show? He outed someone. He's homophobic.
I mean, there's a point being made there.
There's a point being made there, but at the same time, I don't know how you tell your story without outing somebody if the story is that somebody is sexually harassing you. Because that's what happened with what's his face, Kevin Spacey. When Anthony Rapp told everybody that Kevin Spacey tried to basically rape him, he outed Kevin Spacey because Kevin Spacey wasn't out then. And so at what point is it you're homophobic because you outed somebody who wasn't already out the closet, or you're a victim telling your story of being sexually assaulted? And I don't know how to answer that because I don't know if what Art said on Instagram Live was the complete truth.
Yeah, I don't know either. It just,
And that's the reason I had a problem with that particular storyline in the show, because the directors had all of Mew's side of the story and didn't have any of Art's side of the story, and they threw that into this show and basically rehashed the fact or reiterated in fans' minds, Art is a creep, and he had all.
was that scene in the book? Oh God, you're totally
Oh, I think my connection's bad.
Yeah, you totally froze.
It's okay. I didn't say anything. I just said I thought my connection was bad.
Okay. Was the scene in the book with A like crying on Instagram Live?
I don't know if that scene was in the book because I've never read the book, but the fact that that scene, like, even the color of the shirt was the same as what Art did in real life. So that's why I feel like it felt a little bit like a personal attack rather than just saying these are the shady things that people in the industry do.
Right.
So.
I don't know. I guess I don't have much of a thought on this. Like, yeah, okay. I guess they can tell that whatever story they want, whoever side they want.
It's complicated, and I understand where they're coming from. If you are friends with somebody and they tell you their side of the story, you're more likely to believe your friend and try to be like, well, I need to hear both sides of this. So go ahead.
I do think even if it wasn't like meant to be a nod to him, I would have still thought it would. I still think it was a good addition to the narrative. Like, I think it works for the story, so I guess I'm not mad at it because of that. Like, yeah, I mean, maybe it is a dig, but maybe it isn't, and it's just a good addition to the story, But the shirt color, I mean, it could be a coincidence, but that's a little it's a little on the nose.
Just a little bit.
Just a bit.
But outside of that, I thought that there were a ton of really interesting conversations in this show. A lot of conversations about gender identification, sexuality, about just like the way that the public perceives you, how much it impacts every facet of your life once you become a celebrity or once you're involved in entertainment. Because we first get a glimpse of that during the auditions when one of the candidates comes in and tries to read the lines and they're kind of stiff, and the director's like, girlfriend, go ahead and do it your way. And then all of a sudden, it's the hip thrust and, all this number. And as they're deciding who their final choices are to fill these roles, they're like, okay, that guy is gay, but he's like a little too clockable. So we need to pick somebody who, it's okay if they're gay, but they don't come across gay.
Right.
Yeah. And it's just like, it stings to have it acknowledged the way, I'm glad it's acknowledged in the show, but it stings because it made me think of all of the actors who are out and have relationships that are public and how none of them are lead actors in anything. So like the only lead actor who is out is the actor from Until We Meet Again.
Luke?
Yes, he is literally the only male lead who is an out gay man. Every other out gay man is a side character. And Luke, I think, only is a lead because he is single. He doesn't broadcast that he actually engages in his sexuality in public.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that sucks.
Yeah, it's shit. It's homophobic all around.
Yeah. So that kind of was stinky.
I'm still on the fans getting mad after the show after episode 5. Like, I feel like episode 5 afterwards is when they started having interesting conversations,
Oh, absolutely.
Like, that's when we started bringing up, like, Gene being like, I'm not a celebrity, and people being like, but, like, you are now. Like, you are. You're kind of a celebrity now. Your show is being made. It's a hot topic. You're a celebrity now.
Yeah. I mean, you would think that Gene would know he was a celebrity because the way that they made it sound like one day he woke up and his book was being turned into a movie or a show. And really, those are weeks of negotiation. Those are figuring out how much the rights are going to cost. All of that, it's not something that happens overnight. And so the minute that they put out the press release that this book is being made into a novel, all of a sudden people want to know who you are. They want to follow you on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. And so he would have had more than a clue that he's now a celebrity, especially because even if the book was popular, he's getting stopped in public with people saying, can you sign my book? So this feels like for him to play the, I didn't sign up to be a celebrity. It's like, but you've had, in the real world, you would have had enough time to adjust this.
I guess so. I don't know. I kind of disagree because, like, there's one thing being like an author where people maybe know you will, like, maybe know your face from the back of the book or something, and then like doing press releases and like actually being at events, like bigger events.
I can see the aspect of I'm not the kind of celebrity that shows up to red carpets, or I'm not the kind of celebrity that, gets featured on TV programs. But an example of a celebrity author, J.K. Rowling. She can't say she's not a celebrity. She obviously knows that.
Sure, but there's a huge difference between J.K. Rowling and like guy who writes boys' loves. Like, I mean, I think about it like even in like animation, like sure, there's big names of people who work at big companies, but the general person's not going to know them, Like Gene could walk around and pretty much make it through okay without being stopped. J.K. Rowling can't. And then when all of this stuff started to blow up in the show of like him and Nubsid being together and the fans reacting, that's when he like was getting more attention, and that's when his face was being more recognized by people.
Right. But his face was getting recognized before they were outed. I mean, people had started a hashtag for them almost from the time the show started filming. So that's what I'm saying. He had time to realize I'm gaining a higher profile. And it seems like he didn't acknowledge that until the very end. Like, oh yeah, people are watching me. Even when like everything blew up and like the hashtag was blowing up on Twitter and all the Instagram stuff happened, it's like he kept in his mind, if I don't think about it, it can't hurt me. And you kind of have to face the reality of what the situation is. And if he had faced that reality sooner, a lot of the issues they had probably would have been resolved.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I feel like if he had realized that, my boyfriend is a popular boys love actor, there's going to be people all around ducking around every corner looking at him. Maybe going on a very public holiday is not the best idea because they had their picture taken on a public beach on a public holiday.
Mm-hmm.
And right while the promotion machine was rolling for the show. So like, you know, your boyfriend's a celebrity. You know, people know who you are because they've already trended things on Instagram before. You even have said yourself, oh, listen, I hope they're going to recognize your voice because I'm filming us watching your first episode. You know, this person is public. You have to take precautions, and he took none. Neither him nor Nissa took any precautions.
I don't know. I guess I read it a different way. I took it as I was like, oh, everyone else is totally in the wrong. Like, they should be just allowed to enjoy themselves as a couple, and it shouldn't matter what the fans think. Like, sucks to suck, you know?
I think there's a big difference between morality and reality. Like, moral wise, it's wrong for people to hunt them down like wild animals and be like, oh, I captured a glimpse of something no one else is supposed to be privy to. That absolutely on a moral level is wrong. But on a reality level, you know that your significant other is in entertainment and you kind of tangentially are in entertainment and you need to move accordingly.
I guess so. I'm putting this more on Nubsib though, because he was more pushy about affection in public than
I agree with you on that one.
Yeah. Like, I don't think, like, I think it's unfair to put that fault on Jean. I think it's more on Nubsib.
I put it on both, especially because Jean is a little bit older, so I feel like they both have to have common sense here.
Yeah. I think my least favorite plot point, I didn't mind that they were childhood best friends. I thought it was completely ridiculous that he forgot about him.
Yeah, I was like
that.
Unless he had a ton of plastic surgery, something about him should look familiar.
Right. You should, or wouldn't you hear about him if that's like your family friend, you know? Like, I hear about my family friends that I grew up with, even if I haven't seen them in years, you know? And not even like on social media or anything too. Like, I just don't understand how he forgot about him and like hadn't heard of him in years, you know? Like, he lives like next door to his family.
I don't know. It feels like a plot hole, but at the same time, I'm more stuck on that you don't recognize anything about him. Like, unless he had just like a complete nose job, eye job, lip injection, like something about him should look familiar because people don't change that much from the time they're 10 years old until they're 20. Yes, you get taller and like the baby fat disappears, but like if you had a big nose, you're probably going to have an even bigger nose as you get older. If you had, small eyes, you're probably going to still have small eyes. High cheekbones are going to stay the same. It's just maybe the baby fat's going to render down.
Right.
So it is a little weird. Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Like, if he visits his family and like sees his aunt, wouldn't you think like he saw photos before? Like, over the years of like photos of him or their family or something?
You think
it was a bad plot hole.
The way they tried to excuse it was that he was at boarding school the whole time and just got back, which I'm like, what kind of boarding school did you send him to? Was it like the Royal Family Style boarding school? Yeah, that's what he said. Okay, so in the story, Jean goes to boarding school first. And then after Jean goes to boarding school, they send Nusib and his brother to boarding school afterwards. And they both were in boarding school for years. And so he wasn't at the house whenever Jean was coming over, more than likely, because he was in boarding school. And their age difference is significant enough to where it seems to me like Nusib was probably in his first year of university and Jean had already graduated.
Yeah.
So I can see why they wouldn't see each other frequently at all, but I could see probably see the photographs.
Yeah, I'm not saying they should have crossed paths. What I'm saying is, you're telling me there's no social media between these people. You're telling me that he saw no photos. The mom at one point didn't go, oh, here's Nubsib, and she's passing it around the table. Like, oh, here he is in his boarding school or in college or whatever. Here we were at graduation. That didn't happen? All right.
I don't know. My mom tries to tell me about people all the time, and I'm like, who, what? I don't care. I don't remember these people.
Well, there's a difference between like random people my mom's like third cousin once removed that she will randomly tell me that I should go hang out with, and like your childhood best friend who's you're still family friends with,
Right. I do appreciate, though, that they didn't make their childhood relationship a romantic relationship.
Yes.
Because
That was the one weird thing about He's Coming to Me.
Yeah.
That was the like one thing where it's like, we shouldn't have done that. Y'all should have left that one to be.
Like, it came very close. There were a couple of times where he rubbed his hair, gave him a little hug, and I'm like, please just keep it platonic. But the more I saw it, the more I'm like, no, this is just like, in Asia, men are close, and that whole big brother, little brother thing is like a treasured relationship, even if you're not family. And so I felt more of that vibe between them. And so I was glad that that's what came across on the screen instead of like, I always loved you. Like Jean was like, no, I didn't always love you. And even Nusib said, like, if I didn't do what I did and I just introduced myself as Nusib, your neighbor, you would have looked at me immediately as your little brother, because that's the relationship we had. And that doesn't make it right that he lied, but I could be like, okay, well, you firmly established that there was nothing romantic between you two prior to both of you being adults.
Right.
Because if they had said we've been in love the whole time, I'd have been like, I'm turning this shit off today, right now.
Yeah. I wouldn't have liked that.
Yeah.
But
also, kind of, Nusib is an asshole. He's an asshole. Like, he engineered the whole, I gotta move into your place, I need to be as close to you as possible. He, of the two, was the only one, according to the story, that knew that they shared a history. And he manipulated his way into this man's house, insinuated his way into this man's life, hoping to change their relationship. And I feel like there's something super manipulative and just dishonest by not coming clean and just saying, we were childhood best friends, you probably forgot about me, but I want to get to know you again. Because Jean even said, if you had told me who you were from the beginning, you wouldn't have had to trick me to get into my house. My door would have been open.
Right.
So you came in there with an agenda that you knew the other person didn't share, and you did what you needed to do to get them to that space with you. Like, oh, let's rehearse lines and I'll do the kissing scene with you. Oh, are you having a hard time writing NC scenes on your novel? Let me practice with you. Like, you knew what you were doing, and the other person thought like you were being genuine. So I didn't like that. I didn't like that part at all.
I just thought his actor wasn't as good as he should have.
Yep. Cal was okay and until we meet again. He played his part. Him and Kuhart were cute together.
Yeah.
But in this, I think he did not know how to be expressive prior to the dramatic scenes after episode 5. Like, all of his kind of seduction tactics or charm that he showed towards Jean prior to the like flashbacks, it was just like so like wide-eyed and love-struck, and it just felt weird, and like, you're really laying it on thick, and this doesn't feel like a realistic progression of emotions. And it really wasn't until they started having like conflict and he put on like his mean face from like, okay, now I believe you more.
Yeah, I just think he's an actor that works best when his character doesn't require a huge range of emotions. And I think the character required bigger, better emotion than what he was able to give. I thought the guy who played Gene did fine. I thought he was good.
I thought he was good too. I thought he was super wooden in the first few episodes, but as the story progressed, I started to really like him, and Kreider just kept, he got more attractive to me as the series went on.
Yeah, because he started dressing better.
Yeah, well, he started dressing better, and like his skin looked better, and I don't know, he looked healthier toward the end of the show, but like in the beginning, I'm like, this guy looks like Eeyore, but in person.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see his progression.
Did you clock? They did this twice and it annoyed the crap out of me both times, where they make toast and they pull the bread out of the toaster and it's like just bread. Like it's not toasted at all.
Not only that, but who realistically eats that much jam on toast? Like it's a half a jar of jam.
Yeah. I saw him dumping that thing on and I was like,
like, are you
not
eating
one
spoon?
Yeah, and also I need someone to take a bite because I need to hear the crunch. I need to make sure that the crunch is there because I don't trust that bread. It didn't look toasted at all.
You're not going to hear a crunch, and all you're going to see is just blood everywhere from the jam.
Yeah, I want to be on set watching him take a bite because I need to like hear it and see it for myself.
Right. All right, so let's talk about your favorite person because I know you need to talk about it. Let's talk about Abe.
He's not my favorite person. I just think his ending was unfair. And I'll put it this way. I don't think what he did was good. I just think that like his ending was he's going to be sad and alone is like how they set it up. And I don't think that's justified. He's a young kid. He's a young guy. I think people make mistakes sometimes and that there should be some leeway.
I think so too. And that's the reason why I brought up the whole new art thing, because if this was supposed to be a reflection of arts, then in a lot of ways, it's kind of like them saying art deserves to live a miserable, sad life for what he did.
Right. And I don't think that that's true. Like, I think, first of all, he came from a shit home. His family hates him. His sister used him. And the only person that he had dropped him from his agency or dropped him from her agency. And it's just like, this kid really needed someone. This kid needed more than anything, some support. And at the end of the day, he just like got curb stomped. I just don't think it's fair. I also kind of understand why he would be upset as to like Gene and Nubsib dating because they're kind of fucking with his bag now. Like he's like, oh, finally, I break out role. Maybe this boys love thing will be good for me. Maybe I can have something, you know. Something in my life going good for me. And it's just like he shouldn't have done the Insta Live. He shouldn't have stirred the pot. But again, hurt people. And he was a sad boy who just needed a hug. And the whole time I was like, someone please just like mama bear him.
You're right about hurt people hurting people. And this is not the first instance of him doing things that were a bad idea. Like he's taken the wrong approach. Like the whole telling Gene, I like Newsom, so you need to stay away from him because I'm trying to make a move on you. When really he was attracted to Gene. The whole, meeting me at the bar and then telling him later on, I drugged your drink. Even though you said it because you watched Newsom drink the drink. So it's just like, you're doing things that make it very difficult for people to be on your side because you keep making bad decisions. Because it's never funny to joke that you drugged somebody.
No.
So it's just like, I feel for you. I really, really do. But you're very self-destructive and you need help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I felt bad. I saw someone like in need, in like desperate help. And I think that they kind of just gave him like a fuck you ending. And it's like, I don't think that was earned. Like from a story perspective, like I just don't think that's earned. Like either make him meaner or don't give him like this sad backstory.
Right. And I think that, again, that's where the personal relationship and the real life situations, in my opinion, created a storyline that wasn't pleasing or didn't have a satisfying conclusion.
Yeah.
So that family dinner, let's talk about that. His sister can eat every bag of dicks. First of all, you totally turned your brother in. and you turned him in for the most stupid, selfish, self-serving reason. You're like, oh, my parents don't pay enough attention to me. They like my brother more. But if they knew he was gay, then they wouldn't like him as much. And then I would get the attention and people would like me. And then all of a sudden, when you get the spotlight, it's like, oh, they expect too much of me. Now I have to make good grades. I didn't know it was going to be like this. I need to bring him back into the family so they'll leave me alone. And it's just like, you've learned nothing. You've learned nothing from out of your brother. You continue to learn nothing. Every motive you have has nothing to do with love for him or sympathy for his situation. It is a constant, how much more can I eke out of him to make my life better?
Right.
And I hated her. I hated Mock, who is the friend who was also like a side character on the show. And he's like, hey, don't talk to your sister like this. Hey, understand the position your parents are coming from. Hey, don't be like that. It's like, fuck you. The only reason why you're hanging around is because you want to fuck me. And if you really want to fuck me, maybe you need to pretend to be on my side.
Right. Like, his parents are openly homophobic to him. He's like, oh, it's okay. Let's fuck. And it's like, did you not just see like what happened? Like, they're ready to hate crime you.
Like, literally, I just left a scene of somebody who's probably willing to punch my lights out. I'm emotionally devastated. And you're like, oh, are you crying? Yeah, lean into daddy. Yes, lean in. You know, like, stop. Just stop. Read the room. Read the room.
Yeah.
But like, his dad can also eat a bag of dicks, because it's one thing to maybe be mad at the decisions your child has made and have a feel away about it. But to not only tell your child that you don't agree with their life, therefore you don't want anything to do with them, but then to actively hurt them by throwing money at their romantic partner, just to throw it in their face like no one will ever really love you. This gay shit's not real. Like, if you're gonna do that, it would have, even though it's terrible, it would have made more sense for them to be like, son, I just wanted to show you that this person you're involved with is a gold digger, that you still have a place in my home. But it was, I'm going to pay off the person that you think loves you, plus I'm going to kick you out of our house, and I'm going to wait for you to come crawling back on your knees when you go broke and need our help.
Right.
And it's just like, goddamn, what kind of parents are you?
Terrible ones.
Yeah, so fuck his dad, fuck his mom for not divorcing his dad and taking care of her son, fuck his sister for not really caring about his plight, just wanting to get a leg up on her own personal situation, fuck the childhood friend who on the whole was just like, whatever I need to do to convince you that you and me need to be fucking. Because I really and honestly believe the reason why he's so like, you need to respect your parents, is because he probably was the one who was like, yeah, now that I've paid off the guy that he really liked, maybe he'll give me a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why when A said, I little somebody love me, and he's like, I'm here the whole time. I've loved you the whole time. You don't really love me. You want to sleep with me. You have a crush on me, but if you love me, you'd want me to have a better life than the life I have now.
Right.
So, fuck all day.
They all suck. Speaking of parents, should we talk about the parents of the main relationship?
Bitch! I've never seen this in a show, and my mouth dropped open.
When the dad was like, I don't want you dating that boy, and he goes, well, you dated a man before mom, I screamed. Jaw dropped. I was like, ooh. I feel like we should not be watching this. Like, this is... You called him out.
I'm like, hold up. Wait. Yeah.
Gag.
There are a couple of bisexual legends on this show. One of them is the dad, and one of them is Tippy. But in a lot of ways, I really appreciated that they threw that in there. Because the dad's response to Gene and Yusuf coming out, at first glance, came across extremely hurtful. Even when the dad was like, when they were little boys, like, don't you think they're a little bit too close? It came across as extremely hurtful. And at first you're like, wow, why is this dad so fucking homophobic? What's wrong with you? But then to get his backstory, it's like, it was easier to accept the reconciliation because the dad is like, I'm not saying this because I hate you. I'm not saying this because I'm homophobic. I'm saying this because I hate myself for everything that I went through. And if I keep going through what I went through, that's what I'm trying to attempt here. And so, I don't know. I want to know everything about the dad. I want a whole story about the dad's background. I want to know how the dad went from being in this relationship and growing up poor because he said he didn't grow up with a lot of money to having like this huge fucking industrial warehouse mansion type situation. I want to know like the conversation he had with the mom when he's like, listen, I like to get dick down occasionally. She's like, that's cool because I'm ace. And they're just like, we're going to make a family out of it. It's like, I want to know everything about this whole family.
Yeah. And speaking of the family, I really want the two brothers. They need their own spinoff. The two older brothers, like, let's see them fucking. I want that.
I'll go for that. I really was glad to see Poppy again. I want to see him as a lead in a show. I really like him.
I do too. Every time he's on screen, I'm happy he's there.
Yeah. So I think he has a really charming, laid back, easy personality, and it comes across on screen. And he just comes across very likable. But I don't know what kind of show he could possibly do.
Yeah. I don't know either. I do think he's talented though. Like he did a really good job as Porkflaw in Why.
Oh yeah. And he was even decent in Why Are You? He was okay in that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Small scenes he had. Right.
That show. But yeah, the family dynamic, and especially when Jean's like, okay, so you were gay for all intents and purposes. You were at least in like a real romantic relationship with a man. It wasn't just fucking. How did you turn yourself off to be with mom? And he's like, I didn't. She understands. She knows what it was. And I just need to know more about this.
It's called Your Name Engraved Herein. I'm just kidding.
I'm just saying, like, that's a bold fucking conversation to have in probably the late 80s, early 90s. That's a super bold conversation to have.
Yeah. It I will say the scene where like after all the drama happened and Gene goes back to his parents because of all the bullshit that happened, and his dad and him just like he just kind of cries like into his dad, and his dad's like you just like there was a lot of emotions going on. His dad's like, fuck, I knew this was gonna happen. Now my son's heart's broken. Ah, fuck.
Yeah.
And then Gene was like, Papa, I understand now. And it's like, oh, damn.
And I appreciate that he's like, he didn't try to use it like, see, I told you, them bitches ain't loyal. Like, instead, he really was like, I'm still here for you, son.
I will say, I'm a little, I partly don't understand why they were like so upset. Like, basically their company was like, can y'all just keep it on the DL for a few months until the show's wrapped? And I understand that like I would be so pissed if someone ever asked that of me. But like, given that that's the conclusion that they went with and that's what both of them decided to do, like it's 4 months. Y'all can just date after. Like, it's fine.
Right.
You guys can text, you can FaceTime. Why not? You know?
I was really upset at Newsom because one of the things that Newsom said actually turned out to be true. Like, he's like, listen, they're going to try to break us up for 4 months. And then when this contract is over, they're going to try to get me to re-sign, do another project, and they're going to want us to be apart for another 4, 6, 7, 8 months. And I don't want to be a part of this cycle of us being apart until finally we break up because we're never around each other. So I do appreciate that. But it would have made the misunderstanding a little bit more reasonable if he had said, we're going to be apart for these 4 months, but I'm going to get out of my contract at the end of 4 months, and then we can be together. And he doesn't say that to Gene.
Right.
And I'm just like, this part makes me angry.
Yeah.
Because that's a stupid misunderstanding.
Yeah. He was a dumb kid.
I do love, though, even though I know you feel bad for A, I loved it when Noosa kind of confronted him after he left the bathroom at the hotel and they were like about to do the press conference. And he
Mhm.
like, I fucking hate you. And then he hugged him. And he,
Yeah, that was a good scene. And then they reveal that, and then he pulls away and the fans are there. I remember being like, oh shit, ooh, he got you, A. I'm sorry, A. My boy, you got.
I'm telling you, like, that was probably his best acting, in my opinion, in the entire show.
I feel like he should be playing like a sinister villain. I feel like he has the, I don't mean this in a mean way. He has like the face for it a little bit too.
Right. He has that kind of stern, straight man kind of face. Like, I don't think,
Slender.
yeah, like when I smile, it's because you've done something incredible to make me smile.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was a great scene. And also it kind of showed that he learned that no space is safe.
Yes.
Yeah. So good lesson to learn. Uh let's talk about some other characters. I want to talk about Tom and Tiffy.
Whoever did Tiffy's wardrobe, give him a raise. She
Listen,
stepped
Tiffany,
out looking flawless.
not only did she look flawless, she's one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in a boy's love. Like, she's fucking gorgeous. I don't know what else she's done or what else she's gonna do, but she's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But I really liked the relationship between her and Tom. I liked the exploration of assumptions because she assumed that Tom was gay because he knows makeup. But Tom is a professional handler of models and celebrities. That's his fucking job.
Can we talk about how he was like, I just had to go help my sister run the family business of talent agency. I just feel like when people mention their family business, it's not a talent agency. It's like, I went after school, I worked on the family business. It's like, oh, you worked at like a grocery store or like a farm, maybe a construction company, not like a modeling agency. Like, she really couldn't find anyone else? Okay.
You know, maybe she's like, I don't have anyone else that I can pay nothing.
Yeah.
So that's why you're good for this.
Yeah. But I like that it took her a minute. It like he had to like really convince her that he was not gay. I like that he didn't kiss her and was like, see, I'm not gay. It was just like, yeah. It was consensual, everything was good. I liked them. I thought they were cute, and I like that they started a talent agency, it seems, together.
I like that. I like the fact that that he had the quote unquote feminine characteristics. Meanwhile, she's riding a motorcycle, fixing cars, all this kind of stuff. But I also like that kind of she was the flip side of the dad of Jean, in that she's like, yeah, I went to an all girls school. I dated girls, but now I'm kind of like figuring things out for myself. And so it was odd that she couldn't believe that Tom could be straight, even though she knew that for all intents and purposes, based on her love of cars and the fact that she dated girls, people like, oh, well, she's a lesbian, but she's not. Right. She's bi. And so I thought it was very interesting how like it's more acceptable for a woman to go from dating women to dating men and kind of being fluid, where with men, you're like, either you are or you aren't.
Right, because it's like women dating men is just, I don't know where I was going with this. Never mind. Just scrap it.
No, but like, just based on the fact that he's knowledgeable about a subject, it's like, oh, you're gay. I can't believe you're not gay because you're kind of feminine in the things that you're interested in and the things that you do, and you don't know how to fix cars and all this other stuff. And it's like, first of all, being somebody who's interested in something maybe not stereotypically whatever for a gender role isn't a definition of my character or my sexuality. Secondly, as a person who's being misunderstood, just because you can float back and forth across the line, I feel like you should have some sympathy for the fact that maybe no one's asking me. So ask me first. And if I tell you what I am, believe me. Wait until I show something different instead of just telling me who you think I am.
Right. And also, like, wouldn't you want a boyfriend to look good and care about his appearance too? Like, she's out here like head to toe in a fit, and so is he. Like, he's matching the energy. Isn't that good? Isn't that like a win-win? What, you want him to roll up in like a crusty t-shirt he's had for 3 days and like hasn't washed his face ever?
I thought he would have been a great boyfriend. Also, I like that Tom finally got out from under his sister's thumb.
Yes, good for him.
Yes. So I don't know if the people watching this vlog have any experience with the idea of having like narcissistic people in your life. But I think over the last several years, it's been more a topic of conversation to talk about, oh, I have a narcissistic mother, a narcissistic father. And in identifying narcissism in people and kind of the ways that their narcissism can affect your life, I thought it was a really interesting plot point that Tom has this sister who's so self-involved and so concentrating on her success that she doesn't allow him to have his life. Like, she's like, what do you need a personal life for? You work for me. Oh, you want to spend time dating some girl? She's not going to want you because you're gay. And it's just like, at no point did she acknowledge his humanity or the fact that his humanity is separate from whatever idea she has for who he needs to be to suit her needs. And when he quit that job, I had a very strong feeling in my chest, like when she said before he left, "You'll never stop being my little brother," that he was like, "You'll never fucking see me again."
Yeah.
And that's a really hard thing to do, because every time he tried to assert his independence, she'd be like, well, who do you think put you through school? How do you think you pay your bills? All the nice stuff you have, where do you think you got that from? You're beholden to me. Well, he was a kid whose parents died. He had no place to get started being dependent on you. And for you to turn that around, to twist the screws on him and make him seem like he's a traitor for not wanting to do every fucking thing you said, like, that's where the narcissism is at play. And that's where the relationship boundaries are blurred and they overlap to a point where it's unhealthy. And I thought that was really cool that they addressed that in a non-parental way, because everyone talks about narcissistic parents. No one ever talks about narcissistic siblings. They never do.
Right.
So I really appreciated that on just a personal level. Overall, for this show, I almost feel like I have to break this show into 2 parts, like before the end of episode 5 and after the end of episode 5. If this show had stayed on the track that it was at the end of episode 5, I probably would have given the show a 6, maybe even a 5.5. Like, it was what you're used to seeing.
Right.
But everything that went on after episode 5, especially with like the fan wars and the publicity stuff and just everything else, this show really bumped up for me, and I would give it a good 7.5. I wouldn't give it an 8, but I'd give it a 7.5. It ruined itself in the last 15 minutes of the last episode.
What was the last 15 minutes?
We did Snow White and Cinderella and Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, I think it was Frozen. No, I guess it was Snow White. I thought the second one was Frozen because it looked like Jean was wearing Elsa's outfit from the second movie. But
he left the glasses, which is like Cinderella leaving the shoe.
Oh, I was half paying attention.
Yeah, because it was bad.
I was just annoyed because I wish they would have done Sleeping Beauty, but they didn't. So as a Sleeping Beauty stan, I was like, Snow White, fuck her. That was cute though. Why does that bump it down? It was cute enough.
It felt like we were so serious those last 2 episodes, and it was still kind of like in the whole resolving the main conflict thing. And then they're like, oh, well, I guess we got back together, even though we don't explain how the public feels once we have gotten past the 4 months. Like, none of that part there's no wrap up to that. And instead, we're gonna like make believe we're all of these famous romances. And I'm like, no, that's not what I asked for. Because right after that, they walk into a restaurant and fans are like, oh, it's Jean and Lisa. How did y'all get the public back on your side? you know, because I was thinking, real talk, when they did the conference, if I was a fan of a celebrity and they did a press conference to say that they weren't dating somebody, and 4 months later they come out like, oh, just kidding, guys, we got you to watch the show, actually we are dating, I wouldn't want to watch a fucking thing that person ever did ever again.
I don't know. It's not I don't think it's I think the idea of having to hold a press conference about your relationship is inherently stupid. And I think that they didn't have any other choice but to lie. So I think as a fan, I don't know if I care. Like if a K-pop idol came out and being like, like, let's say it comes out that Jimin is from BTS is dating some boy, and big hits like, I know y'all are actually dating, but we need to do a press conference about this, about how you're not actually dating. And then a year later, BTS disbands and Jimin's like, fuck it, finally we can be dating. Why would I be mad at that? I wouldn't be like, oh, he betrayed me. Wouldn't it be like, oh, good for him, he like did what he had to do?
I don't know. I think I would just feel some kind of way because I feel like there's a more elegant solution to that situation. I don't know what that more elegant solution is. I wish I could rewrite that, but I feel like there's a much more elegant solution than just straight up lying and being like, yeah, we, you know what I thought about really? I thought about the fact that when the hashtag first came out and the beach pictures came out, that Jane and Newsom should have taken a picture together on Instagram with them at the beach, and they should have been like hanging out with my childhood best friend, and they let everybody know they grew up side by side as neighbors and they're close because they are childhood friends. Then it would have got to this point. They could have done that. It got to this point because when it first came out, they both act like nothing was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Let that be a lesson, kids. You can't ignore something and be going away.
Yeah.
Because I thought that the entire time. I'm like, just tell them y'all grew up together and that y'all were super close because you were neighbors. And because the pictures weren't even of them kissing, they were of them hugging on the beach.
Right.
And not even like face-to-face hugging, but like, I grabbed you from the back. I could have been ready to pick you up and throw you into the ocean. Nobody knows what was going on. But the pictures to me didn't come across as, oh, secret lovers.
Yeah, they could have gone that route for sure.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't have any drama, so I can't.
Plus, I don't think that's how people would do it in real life. I think they'd actually have a press conference.
I guess they would, but I would have added like childhood pictures because I'm sure they have pictures of them as kids together. I would have put that on the Instagram, like, this is my childhood friend. Look at us 20 years later.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, you do like TBT, and then it's a photo of like them hugging on the beach, and then you swipe and it's them as children.
Yeah. Elegant solution.
Yeah. Maybe you should be in PR then.
That's what I would have done instead of having you lie about it to be able to get the show protected and then have to go back and change your story. Because then if you had said we're childhood friends, that's what you saw. And then later on, you're like, we're dating. You could say after being childhood friends, our feelings grew.
I don't know. I also think it's a lot. I think it shouldn't matter either way.
Yeah. But either way it goes, 7.5. I feel like that's even high. I really should go for a 7, but 7.5 I'm willing to give because I did think that Jane and Noosa were quite cute towards that last like episode 9-10. I liked their intimacy there. I thought that she was trash, but the other intimacy was very good. Yeah,
the kisses weren't great. They really tried though, I guess. But I thought they were cute. I would give it a 7. I don't think I'll ever rewatch it, but I thought it was pretty decent.
Yeah.
It's not the worst thing I've seen.
I forgot to talk about one of my favorite sequences. The sequence where Dean goes to his class reunion and the fucking bully at the table is like, so are you gay? Are you gay?
I hated that scene.
I did not like that scene in terms of like how on the spot you put Gene, but I did like the fact that Tom spoke up and was like, hey, quit being an asshole and trying to get into people's business. If he wants to come out, he will, but if he doesn't, quit trying to be an instigator. And his other friends were like, you know what? We don't even care. You don't have to talk about that. Let's talk about something else. Like, right. I like that part. And then when Newsom came to get Jane, and Jane was drunk and trying to, get frisky with Newsom, Newsom didn't take the bait. And I was very glad he didn't, because dubious consent. I'm really glad that he didn't cross that line. I was mad though that they decided to fall asleep on the floor instead of the bed that was right behind them.
Very odd choice.
It's always an odd choice. It was like that in Red, Wine, and the Dark Knight. It's like, there's a bed. Just a foot over.
A very comfortable looking bed too. So,
yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, do you have Instagram of the day?
Yes, I do. I have a couple of different Instagrams because there were several different people that we needed to note. So the first Instagram I have is for Cal, who played Newsom, and his Instagram is it's NUMBER, like the word number, the letter X, and then the number 9, the numeral 9, and then TH. So it's like number X9. And it's mostly promotional things. He's got 1 million followers, so he's doing very well on the Instagrams. But he probably has 1 million followers from being on Until We Meet Again and a combination of Lovely Writer. Both of those shows were pretty well received by the community. The next person we have here is Bruce. I decided to do him because I feel like he deserves to be talked about, because he is our only out cast member as far as I can tell, and he played A, and he's in a relationship, so I'm really glad that not only is he out, but he's practicing. And his Instagram is Bruze. It's BRUZE, and he has 108,000 followers, so that's really good. And his Instagram is a little bit more personal, not as many kind of advertising things, because he's probably not being offered as many advertising opportunities, to be honest with you. But still, I like it a lot. And then the last one I have is the Instagram for Gene. He goes by Up in real life. That's his name. And as soon as I saw that his name was Up, I immediately thought of Cardi B. I could not let that pass in my mind.
You got a Photoshop for like doll wig from the video on him.
I think that's perfect. But his Instagram is UP, like Up, and then Poompat, which is POOMPHE, Poompat. So it's Up Poompat, and he has 893,000 followers, which is a tremendous amount because this is his most notable boys love. But I did tell Mason that I want to talk about the fact that the reason why everyone was so excited about Gene when they first announced Lovely Writers, the series, is because he was well known in boys love circles for doing the KA commercial. So KA is like a beauty products line, and they do lip gloss and sunscreen and all these other things. Well, they decided to take the viral marketing route, and they decided to make commercials that were like little mini boys love episodes. And Gene played the aggressor in these commercials, and it was something that was like really popular when it came out, and even now people still talk about it because the other actor in the commercial was in The Shipper, and he played one of the main characters in The Shipper opposite Ohm. So yeah, it was just interesting that he probably got a lot of followers initially because of him being in commercials. Also today in Thailand, the 9th, we're filming this on the 9th, a special horror episode of Lovely Writer came out.
Oh.
I haven't watched it yet, but I sent you the trailer. I sent you the trailer in our Twitter thread.
Oh, I have to go see. I don't know if I saw it yet.
Yeah, but they did a horror kind of 2-hour special. We haven't watched it, but I'm excited to see what it's like, because the end of the show was very kind of meta in that we saw the writer of the show and how like she's creating the story and like, oh, this is a story, guys. Don't take it too seriously. This is all fantasy. But yeah, apparently it kind of, from what I've heard, it kind of takes that route for this kind of 2-hour special thing. So that's interesting if you want to watch that and get a little bit more. Apparently, I hear that in the 2-hour special, A and Moke get close and share a rather nice kiss. So if you're interested in seeing A get some, check out the special edition, special episode.
I kind of want to see that. Cool. Well, I have a manga this week. I have something called My Summer of You, volume 1. Oh, I guess there's gonna be more. I didn't realize. I thought it was done.
Unprepared.
It is essentially about these two boys. They are high school students. They're in different classes, but they became friends because they both really love going to the movies. And it's basically about how he confesses to him that he has a crush on him. And then he's like, oh, we don't have to like date though. Like, I know you're straight. It's whatever. And it's basically how he's kind of like, oh, okay. And then like the whole book is like him having a gay panic, being like, do I want to date him? And then it's like, yeah, of course, it's a boys' love. So it's very sweet. I liked it a lot. Again, it read like a one-off. I really thought it was a one-off. So it's a full circle story. It's a quick read. The art's good. I got it on Amazon. It's published by Kodansha Comics, and it's retailed for $15, which is expensive, but it's pretty thick. It's pretty long. It's a lot longer than most manga.
Yeah, I think I paid more than that for Dick Fight Island.
How much was Dick Fight Island?
Dick Fight Island, I think I paid $16 for.
Damn, that's a lot of money for Dick Fight Island. Is that a one-off, or is there like a...
No, it's not.
Oh, okay, so we're getting 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
The whole collection. Maybe we'll have to get into doing manga reviews, and we can start with Dick Fight Island once it's done published. Like, let's talk about Dick Fight Island.
It was wonderful. I really enjoyed it. I thought the art was really good, and I thought it was like so incredibly stupid because like apparently in Dick Fight Island, everyone is like so focused on training to fight each other's dick that several of them have never heard of anal sex.
Damn.
Like, what?
Oh, does someone that come up and just like, let me show you, and then like slips a finger?
Yes. Like that was one of like, so that was a move of somebody in a fight. So these two combatants were about to be eliminated from the competition because the person who was in charge of the competition is like, I don't think that you're ready to fight on the man stage. You're still little boys. And he's like, let me show you. We're going to fight each other. Whichever one of us wins gets to go to the competition. So the little boy with like the pussy tail starts like whipping the other guy. And the other guy like throws him down on the ground and sticks his finger up his butt and starts rubbing his prostate. And all of a sudden, he's like, oh my gosh, that's a dirty trick. Why'd you do something like that? You're not supposed to go for our butts. You're supposed to go for our dicks. Because to win a battle on Dick Fight Island, it's whoever comes first. So like they suck each other's nipples, they tongue each other down, they, fist each other to try to see who's going to come first. But apparently no one ever thought about a prostate rub.
Damn. What? This was like a very wholesome episode, and then you're like, all right, so they were like fisting each other, and then you got 2 fists in. All right, well, our next episode, this will lead into our next episode just fine, because our next episode will have to be graphic. We are doing Korean film, The Handmaiden. So our next episode, maybe not, I don't know if they do any of that in The Handmaiden.
Oh, maybe not. It's probably classy fisting.
No, it was like intense, at least intense for me. I don't know, I don't watch any lesbian porn, so I was like, oh, okay, here we are. So we're gonna watch The Handmaiden, and that'll be like our nice little like in between episode, because after that is when I promised you the moon will be done, which yes, we are doing. I actually haven't started yet. I'm
so scared. I want to wait till it's all done and people tell me that it had a happy ending, because the trailer was a lot. It was a lot of emotion, guys.
Yeah, I don't want to. I'm kind of glad I waited for I Told Sunset About You to wait until it was done to start it, because if I had watched like episode 4 and then had to wait a week for episode 5, it wasn't gonna happen.
No. That's
why Thailand being like, someone tell me what the fuck happens here.
Yeah, so
man, that trailer, when that trailer dropped, I felt every emotion watching that. Every emotion imaginable.
everything.
Yeah.
Like romance, drama, sadness, sorrow, grief, anger, lust, all of it.
The acting, the cinematography, it just still looks so good. I love that they gave him like the bright red hair, and then like I guess as his character changes, his hair kind of changes, he grows out a bit. Love that. Oh my god, that scene where he looks up and goes, "Do you still love me?" I just oh, their acting is so good. They really got me there.
I'm telling you, when we do that review, I imagine that Mason's gonna start the episode being like, "I'm Michelle Obama, girl, you've done it again."
Constantly raising the bar for us all. Or Gaga, amazing, perfect, stupendous, wonderful, awesome.
Really and truly, it's a phenomenal show. And so we are going to take a little bit of break to something easy to digest, and then we're going to do I Promise You the Moon, and I cannot wait. And we're still kind of debating what our watch together is going to be. Handmaiden probably would have been a good one for us to watch with everybody else, but timing wise, we just don't have a gap in our schedules to make that happen just yet.
Yeah, and I'll cop up to that because that's on me, because I'm moving and also have some vacations planned. So June was just like a fucked month for me. So we're squeezing it in when we can.
Yeah. And rather than talk about Samantha's rant, you might have noticed we skipped over that. I just want to say that as an ally, happy Pride Month, everybody. I realize that this is not my place to speak, because one of the things about being an ally is that you put your voice below the community that needs to be served.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to say that if any of you who are watching this have ever felt like you don't have familiar support, you don't have a good friendship group, if you're really struggling with your identity, with your sexuality, if you're really struggling to feel like you belong in a world that constantly reinforces that you don't have a place, I just want you to know, if nothing else, this is a place for you, and you have a place in our conversation. So as an ally,
sure.
all I want to offer you is space.
Thank you. That was very nice. As a gay, happy Pride. Yes, boots the house down. I don't know, other gay words. Yes, mama. I don't know, can't tongue pop. All right, y'all. We'll see you soon. Bye.